These international breaks are kind of sneaking up on us this year. But at least we have a pretty decent slate of matches with which to contend before we head off into those choppy international waters. And teams aplenty looking for a good reset before they do so. Who's coming out on top today on Coffee with a Kick? Hello, welcome back to another episode of Coffee with a Kick. We are here before another international break coming at us so often here these past 2 months. But, you know, I don't mind them getting a little bit of time away with, I would say my family. I guess it will be with my family. I'll see them eventually, my family. But you get to spend time with your family, Keegan. Of course, I'm Xander and that's Keegan.
Yeah, you know, I'm hoping so. You, on the other hand, I guess we'll get a report after, but...
Yeah, I'll figure out something to do. Or not, you know, you could just not do anything. Let's not bring down the mood too much here. So we'll just choke on some water. I mean, coffee, obviously. And move on to match day, what is this, 11? Match day 11 for the Premier League. Starting off not bright and early. It's at 10 a.m. No bright and early matches this match day. Bright and early. I still went with it. Brentford and Bournemouth. The Battle of the Bees. 10 a.m. on Saturday. How does this one strike you? Brentford coming off that big ol' victory, right? Are these correct?
Bournemouth with the victory.
Bournemouth with the victory. Brentford lost to Fulham. That's right. I got the Bees backwards, obviously. Anyway, Bournemouth coming off the big victory. Do you think they can maintain their momentum, or are they going to have a little bit of a hangover going into this match day?
I think it'll be a hangover. In the table, Brentford is below them, but really that's only due to this last week. Mm-hmm. And Bournemouth have not won at Brentford since October of 2005. So it's been a while since they've beaten Brentford at Brentford. I think I saw a stat they hadn't won in 17 matches against London teams. Bournemouth does not like to play Brentford at Brentford. I think it'll be 3-1. I think Brentford will have the firepower to overcome Bournemouth.
That's why.
And I'm guessing that's the same pick as you.
Wait, sorry, what did you say?
3-1.
Oh, actually, that is the same pick as I had. I wrote it correctly, thinking that I was picking Brentford, and then I was looking at my sheet here, and I had Bournemouth winning. But then you're saying they're at Brentford. I'm like, well, this says at Bournemouth, and then I just wrote it down wrong. But that is, yeah, I have the same vibe, is what I'm saying. That it will be 3-1 as well. Brentford, then B's got to sting some point, you know. Now I do have them. I have Bournemouth finishing last. So I need them to start moving down the table. And this will be the start. I will give up Brentford getting this victory because I have them in 15th for Bournemouth moving down the table. I have a couple of those picks going on this match day where I'm like, I need this team to start doing worse. Except for one. There's one that I'm picking because I'm jinxing them. It's an anti-pick. If you can guess, go ahead and type it in the comments now. Timestamp it so we know that you're not cheating. And who am I picking out of spite? Who could it be? But before we get to that pick, we'll move on to Crystal Palace and Fulham at 10 a.m. as well. This one's on USA. This one I have because I think Fulham is kind of they're not exciting, but they're efficient. But I do think that Crystal Palace gets a point out of it at home. I think this goes 1-1 down in Selhurst Park.
Yeah, you know, I think I'm going to change my pick here. I had it as a draw. I think I'm going to go 2-1 Fulham.
2-1 Fulham.
And mainly that's due to the insights of Crystal Palace do not play well against Fulham. They're winless in their last 5 Premier League games against Fulham. Fulham have kept a clean sheet in the last 3 away matches against Crystal Palace. Now, obviously, history does not mean something's going to happen, but I do think Fulham has played a little better and has been more organized this season offensively. So I'm going to run with that and say 2-1.
I do want to backtrack for a minute and say that I did commit that anytime that we have the same pick, I would change. So I did move my Brentford to 2-1, just so that we have a chance of getting it right. Just doing a little bookkeeping there. Yeah, I almost picked Fulham to take this. It'll come down to Anthony Robinson, basically, is what it'll come down to. See if Anthony Robinson can get another one of those little blooping crosses that are perfect to help them get a 2-1 victory like they did last match day. And then we will go to, is this 2 straight London derbies? No, Everton's not in London. What am I talking about? They're obviously in Liverpool. But still, the match is still in London. West Ham hosts Everton at 10 a.m. as well. We've got a lot of these 10 a.m. matches. A lot of them. So many we only have one left to cover. I should just speak plainly here. I am taking West Ham to win 2-0 because this is another one of those picks that I need Everton to start losing. I need Everton to start losing. It is plain and simple. That's all I've got to say about that.
Yeah, West Ham have conceded at least 1 goal in each of their last 14 Premier League home games, which is the longest ongoing streak. I think that continues, and I think it's going to be 1-1. I think both teams are going to lean on their defense, although the quote defense is actually just poor offense. So I'm going to go 1-1. That's
just inefficient offense.
Yeah.
1-1. And then for the last 10 a.m. match, my Wolves host Southampton at the Molineux. We are the favorites in this. Do we get the dub? Do we get those 3 sweet points? Do we double our point production for the entire year in this one?
I have this 3-1 Wolves. I think Southampton is that bad away from home. And I think that Wolves know that if they don't get a win here, boy, it's going to be tough sledding the rest of the season. Like, this has to be 3 points with momentum going into the next. So I think it'll be convincing 3-1 victory.
I'm hedging on this. I've got 2-2, Wolves and Southampton. I just think we're winning 2-1. They get a late corner, they get a late set piece or something, and it always happens. It just always happens. And we can't get the win because we're going to bungle a set piece defense again. Not optimistic. Listen, I picked us to go 17th, okay? So I expected us to be this bad. I expected us to be close to this bad, just not quite this bad. I need to just peek your heads above the relegation strife. And please, that's all I ask.
This was your one prediction that you hoped would not. This is your Nottingham prediction. Like, you wish that Wolves were doing what Nottingham was doing.
Yes,
but
obviously.
You're spot on so far.
So far, they are one of my better performers, unfortunately, in the pick totals.
Ignore the jerseys hanging from the wall behind. Yeah. Ignore your eyes.
This team isn't in the Premier League, though.
Hey, give it a few years. The Wombles will be up.
We'll see. We'll see. And then we go to Brighton hosting Manchester City at the Amex at 12:30. This one, Man City could snap out of this at any time. They have the talent to. They have the talent to be the best performing team in the league because they've won the league for the past 4 years, right? Yeah, obviously. Last 4 years. So you expect to break out of it any time. I don't think it happens yet. I think this is a disappointing 1-1 draw for Manchester City at the Amex.
Yeah. The history between these two teams is tough.
Listen, you already said it. Past performance is not an indication of future achievement, okay?
But the past gives us insight into our future.
A man who doesn't know his past is doomed to repeat it? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that not only do they not know their past, but they know their past and they're doomed to repeat it even now. 3-1 Man City over Brighton. Brighton has always been that team that City has scored a lot of goals against and kept clean sheets well. And this Brighton team just hasn't been efficient in the offensive game. So I think City get an early goal and they kind of establish that dominance. I can't trust us to get a clean sheet.
Nope.
But I do think this is one of the games where maybe we don't snap out of the whole funk, but you at least get 3 points and you get to focus on getting some momentum again.
Like I said, it wouldn't be shocking. It wouldn't be shocking. Now, are we going to see something shocking in this next one? The headliner from Saturday, Liverpool hosts Aston Villa at 3 p.m. Oh, did not sneeze. At the Anfield. And how do you have this one going? Do you give Aston Villa any shot? I think you're probably going to have them win. This is just my guess on your guess. Because you can't have Liverpool get too much of a lead. Am I right?
That was not why I picked Villa to win. But I think Villa wins 1-0 because they know they need a victory. Losing to Club Brugge may have been Liverpool's downfall in this matchup because I think Aston Villa is going to be very motivated to snap out of their streak. And Unai Emery has been very consistent about they're not going to lose 3-4 matches in a row, like 2 at most, and they come back roaring. So I think it's going to be 1-0. It's going to be a defensive battle. Villa get maybe a mid to late first half goal and just kind of hold on.
We also need Emi Martinez to start racking up clean sheets because we both picked him to be the Golden Glove, and they have not come through for us in that regard at all, very much this season so far. Yeah. 1-0, I don't know. Liverpool's just so... I don't know if they can keep a clean sheet at home for Liverpool. It'd be shocking. I'll grant you that. That'd be shocking. Then we move over to Sunday. Got 3 9 a.m. matches there. Manchester United, I was stumbling over that for some reason, hosts Leicester City at Old Trafford. Now, Manchester United performed last week in spite of sacking their manager. Do you think they can maintain this post-Ten Hag momentum?
You know, I think it's 1-1. I think Leicester can get a point out of it. I think Man U, they were inspired at the beginning. I mean, they won the FA Cup 5-2, and last week a draw. I just think Leicester, again, it's their experience they're going to lean on. Man U's kind of in this flux period where this is the last match before their new manager comes in. We don't know what that's going to look like. But I just think that they're going to be looking to the international break. The players really aren't going to be caring about this one. Losing it's not going to kill the season any worse than it already has been killed. Winning it doesn't do much for them either. I think it's just going to be a draw. I think Leicester knows that they can smell a little bit of blood, so they're going to come in and get a point.
Yeah, this pick goes against my season-ending results, but I do have Leicester winning 2-0. I think that, what is it? What's the phrase? I'm not sure. Something
There's
about
a lot of them.
The cat's away, the mice will play. That's the phrase that I was looking for. And I think that they kept themselves in order last match day and got the draw against Chelsea. But they slip up here. I think that they're going to take it for granted because Leicester is a newly promoted side and slip up and lose 2-0. I think it's just as simple as that.
Wow.
And then Nottingham Forest hosts Newcastle. If you guess Nottingham Forest is my spite pick, you're correct. I have them winning 3-0 to try to jinx them into losing.
You said Nottingham 3-0?
Yeah, Nottingham 3-0 over Newcastle.
I mean, I have it 3-1. So Nottingham at home, they've been dogs at home. I mean, they've been just grinding games out, whether it's a 1-0 victory, and then they've blown some teams away. And Newcastle's been one of those teams where they don't – it was like Aston Villa last year. Aston Villa were allergic to that first place spot. Then they were allergic to the Champions League spots until the very end. That's Newcastle this season. They know that if they get a win here, it's going to be good cooking. So they're going to lose. And Nottingham, they're hot. So 3-1. Nuno is going to continue to rub it in Wolves' face that he's doing great without them.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't, because he wasn't doing what. Why does he get to succeed when we don't? He wasn't doing well with us, and I don't think.
Okay, he wasn't doing well in the season that you sacked him, but he had Wolves in the top 8 at one point. So
I didn't say it was totally his fault. We had some pretty substantive injuries last season, but let's not talk about the past. You took 3-1 for Nottingham Forest over Newcastle. Move over to one that might be a little bit easier. Ipswich Town goes to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. How do you have Tottenham taking this easy?
I also have this one 3-1. I think Ipswich is one of the teams that when you've been decently inconsistent throughout the season, you're going to want to face them because they're sound in their midfield, but outside of that, they're just kind of still figuring it out. So 3-1 is where I'm gonna put them.
3-1. I have this as a very nervy victory for the home side at 1-0.
Wow.
Spurs go through spates of scoring goals, and then it's really hit or miss because they'll go like 1 goal, 4 goals, 1 goal, no goals, 3 goals, 3 goals, 2 goals. Well, it's a big spate, 4, and then they go blank, and now 4. So I think it's going to be back down from defeating Aston Villa at home. A little homestand here for Tottenham, but only 1-0. Just because sometimes Tottenham likes to disappoint. And then to the quote-unquote headliner from this match day, Chelsea hosts Arsenal, one of them other London derbies, at Stamford Bridge. This one, Chelsea, what do we always say about Chelsea? You never know what Chelsea you're going to get. But as Arsenal is down on their luck right now, and I don't think it changes. I don't think it changes this match day. I've got Chelsea taking it 4-1. Really taking it to Arsenal. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was my same pick. I will dumb it down. I'll say 4-2.
Fine. I'm going to keep 4-1.
I almost wrote down 4-2.
All right.
I think Arsenal are down on their luck, and because they're a team that has a lot of pressure on them to win, I think that they're going to start leaking from the defense and really trying to push players up. And Chelsea is a team that if you do that, they smell it and they strike.
Yeah.
It's just been without Odegaard, they have no creativity in the midfield. All their creative players are out wide. And it's not good for a team that, with how they play in possession, it's kind of like Man City. The team is very different when De Bruyne and Foden are on the field than when those two aren't on the field. It's a noticeable drop of creativity. So I think Arsenal get 1. Obviously, I'm going to say they're going to get 2 here. But if it is 4-1, I'm going to count that as a perfect pick. But I think Chelsea score a lot. And I think it's going to be panic time for Arsenal. City and Arsenal in similar spaces, but Arsenal have lost 2-0 to Bournemouth and 1-0 to Newcastle, lost in the Champions League. If they lose this one,
depending on how it goes, they could theoretically drop down to 8th, depending on how the rest of the matches go. That would take Brighton.
If they lose this one, again, the Premier League title is not over for them yet, but they would theoretically have to win 9 out of 10 matches every single sequence. So it'll be tough for them. I think they're going to play well, but I just think they're going to be too desperate on offense, and their defense is going to leak. Yeah,
we'll see. We've got some good matches for this weekend. So we'll definitely be tuning in for them, obviously. But yeah, there's some interesting ones, important ones for some relegation sides, and then just some straight up bangers, bro. Just some straight up bangers going on. So anything to say before we tiptoe out into the weekend? I don't know why we're tiptoeing, but sure.
Yeah, tiptoeing. It'll be an interesting match day because like we have said the past 2 international breaks, there's always a few teams before the break that are looking over to their rest week. And there's some teams who take advantage of that, and then they come back from the break and they end up losing. So it'll be interesting to see which big teams fall this weekend.
Yeah, I guess that's the Arsenal pick for us, right? Arsenal's like, okay, we're going to get an international break to reset and recoup, but they're doing it one match day too early, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I have Liverpool losing too, so.
Oh, you did? Well, that's the Aston Villa. That's not that crazy. It's at home, so I guess it's a little bit stranger, but still, it's not that outlandish of a result.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, why don't you go ahead and grab your coffee, watch some soccer, and we'll see you on the other side. Adios.